Hello, Chris here with Gav, and today we're going to be talking about the UK box office because this morning they released the figures for the top 10 movies of the year.
Yeah.
And, drum roll, number one movie, Lego.
Awesome.
Bit of a surprise, really.
Yeah, quite. I mean, it's a children's film.
Yeah.
Animated, not a sequel or a prequel, which a lot of the ones in the top 10 are.
Yeah, a children's film now that seems to have transcended that.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
everyone loves it.
It's written by two really smart guys, the guys behind the 21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
And, it just seems to have appealed to pretty much everyone across the board.
Yeah.
But a year ago, you would never have predicted that would be the number one film in the UK.
No, I don't think so.
Over these 12 months.
No. I mean, it is a really, really great film, and it did seem to be one of those films, I saw it late, where everyone loved it. Like, every single person on Twitter actually loves it.
Yeah. It's just very, very smart.
Yeah.
But it's probably not the biggest grossing film of the year. In the calendar year it is.
Okay.
But we should say that The Hobbit Battle of the Five Armies is just behind it. So Lego Movie's on 34.3 million.
Yeah.
The Hobbit's on 33.5 million.
Right,
but that's still in cinemas.
Right. Oh, so this only goes up to the 31st of December,
It does,
right?
it does, yeah. So Hobbit will overtake it ultimately.
Yeah.
And probably break the £40 million barrier. Which is interesting because last year there were 4 films that broke £40 million.
Yeah.
This year, none.
That's crazy.
So that's kind of a weak year for the box office
in
those terms. And it is actually, overall, the box office is down about 3% on last year.
Yes, because people are just... Because all those are... 7 of those are sequels and prequels. I think people are just sick of seeing those all the time?
I think it's the titles themselves, though, because there's no Bond this year. Last year, I mean. Yeah. There was no Bond, no Avengers. Next year, you've got Star Wars, Bond, Jurassic World, Age of Ultron... These are going to be 50, 60 million pound movies.
Yeah.
So I think, and also that you had a World Cup as well in the summer, that can always affect the box office a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
But I think we were just lacking that big, the big franchises. This was kind of an off year, and next year will be an on year. Interestingly, 2 British films did well this year, didn't they, Gav?
They did indeed. Yeah. Inbetweeners 2.
Inbetweeners 2, the third most successful film of the year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because the first one was really successful. It's the only 15 rated film in the top 10 as well.
Good knowledge.
So that's quite good.
Yeah, it made 33 million. The first Inbetweeners movie made 45 million.
Wow.
So it's down on that, but considering it cost very little money to make, it's still huge.
It just flies men over to Australia.
Yeah, you look at the blockbusters behind it, and the mind boggles really at how much money those rake in, those comedies. Yeah. And the other one is Paddington.
That is really surprising.
And again, Paddington's at number 7 with 27.9 million. But that's still in cinemas. It's still around the top 5. Yeah. And I think families are going to keep seeing it. So I think that's great, because I've saw the movie, I loved it. Yeah. I've been recommending it to all my friends with kids. It's just a really lovely film.
And there was a big thing before Paddington came out where everyone was freaking out the fact that it was a PG and like, they've made a mistake, it's not a U, so no families are going to go see it, but obviously they are.
Yeah, they were disturbed by the fact that in one scene Hugh Bonneville dresses up as a woman.
Is that why it got PG?
It couldn't have any less sexual connotations, this scene. You know, it's proper slapstick.
Doesn't like every British film
in
the history of films have a man dressing up as a woman in it?
Yeah, we're the kings of that. So yeah, that's done well. That's Studio Canal released that, and I believe that's the most successful film they've ever released. Wow, so expect a sequel to be announced very soon.
Yeah.
And interestingly, that's out in the States next week, so I don't know if it'll cross over there.
Do you think?
Well, that's what I mean. The producers,
such a British film.
The producer's David Heyman, though, who produced Potter, and I'm sure they're hoping for a similar thing where it just Harry Potter's a pretty British thing, but it kind of transcended.
Yeah, I guess so.
The UK.
Harry Potter's different though, isn't it? Because Harry Potter's already got that ridiculous fan base for it. Whereas Paddington, except for my nan, I
don't know. It's just nice to see a new family film.
No, definitely, yeah.
Other interesting things, I think, Guardians of the Galaxy was the biggest film of the year in the States, but it only came in at number 6 here.
Okay.
I don't know if that means anything.
I think, I mean, certainly from talking to people who didn't know what Guardians of the Galaxy was before the film, just like friends and other colleagues and things like that, they were not on board with it at all. I mean, which is odd in a country that invented Doctor Who, really. Yeah. Because it's quite a Who sort of universe, really.
So they didn't go and see it then?
No, and just weren't up for it at all. Just because, Galaxy, there's a talking raccoon in it, aliens, things like that. People who aren't into that kind of stuff aren't going to go see it, whereas people who aren't into that kind of stuff will still go see Avengers.
So it didn't quite hit here as well as it did in the States.
No, and I don't understand why, because it's a really, really funny film.
But number 6 ain't bad.
Yeah, exactly.
More encouraging is the fact, I'm sorry, Transformers fans, but Age of Extinction was the biggest film of the year globally. It didn't even make the top 10 in the UK.
That's mad.
I mean, I'd like to say that's because we've got a more discerning audience, but I know we've got lots of viewers and readers that really like those movies. So I guess maybe just in the UK we've had enough of the robots in disguise.
That's odd, isn't it? That is strange. It's interesting though to see why globally people are still going crazy for those films.
Yeah.
Whereas in the UK we like Paddington Bear.
We like the bear rather than the bots. Other interesting things that aren't in the top 10. Just below the top 10, I think in like 12, 13, is Wolf of Wall Street and Gone Girl.
Wow, okay, cool.
Both 18 rated movies.
Yeah.
And there's been a suggestion that maybe we're done with those kind of, adult entertainment, that people just want the ones that are going to hit all the different boxes and all the different age groups. But I think that shows that that's not true.
No, definitely, yeah.
Wolf of Wall Street's now the most successful 18 rated film ever in the UK, taking over from Hannibal, which was a long time ago. So it shows that people haven't really been going in their droves, but that's really interesting.
That is interesting. I guess it is quite a big gamble to release something that's above a 15 or 18, something like that. Like we've talked about why certain superhero films have failed and things like that. Like Dredd, because Dredd came out as an 18 rather than something else.
Yeah.
So it can be seen as a big risk, but then I guess for someone like David Fincher or Martin Scorsese, they're like, well, we don't care.
Well, Scorsese's films didn't used to make money. It's amazing that they're actually, each one's getting bigger than the last one.
Yeah, I guess cast and, he seems to go for a lot slicker films, I think.
Yeah, no, I think he's playing to the audience a little bit.
Definitely, yeah.
They're still great movies. And then just some of the other British films that didn't make the top 10 but still did well. Okay. Mrs. Brown's Boys, the movie.
Oh, God.
14.7 million, Gav. You can shake your head. It's the biggest sitcom in the UK, and it's one of the biggest movies in the UK.
For our US audience, don't even Google it.
Don't even Google it.
Yeah.
Although, have you ever watched it?
I've watched the TV show.
Okay.
I watched the trailer for Mrs. Brown.
Fan of the TV show?
No, not at all. It's awful.
All right, enough said about that. Imitation Game did really well, 14.1 million.
That's good.
It's a great movie. Nativity 3, Dude, Where's My Donkey? 7.4 million.
People got to take their kids or something at Christmas, don't they?
Yeah, well, Paddington.
Yeah.
And then finally, Mike Leigh's movie, Mr. Turner.
Oh, excellent.
Fantastic film, and that's grossed 6.4 million. It's still on release.
Yeah.
And it's the most successful film of his career, so that's really good to see.
Cool, yeah.
So that was the chart in 2014, but we're in 2015 now.
Yeah.
So keep it here on IGN to find out what will be topping the charts this year.